Bhavi, talk to us a little about Sufism and how it relates to Santmat.
Well, I can't talk much about Sufism except that in good old days, Punjab had become a center of Sufism. So just like the Sant tradition, so similarly in Muslims, the offshoot, the spiritual side, I would say from the religious point of view, has been Sufism, where they have questioned traditional methods and tried to bring back to the original. Over a period of time, I guess every religion has, over a passage of time, got its rituals and ceremonies and gone away from what was propagated. So mystics come, they try and question, they try and bring the real teachings forward, and that is what Sufism did to Islam. Now Punjab, because it was a center and you had people coming in from all sides, it was a trading point, so it became a place of Sufism along with other Hindu traditions, Sikh traditions. And you had Bulle Shah, you had Shah Anayat, you had Sheikh Farid, then you were in Persia, you had Shams and Sultan Bahu you had here. So it was to bring the cultures together where they drew from the strengths of each tradition and they tried to present it in the format of their own religion that they belong to. And so Sufism prospered a lot. If you see the children out here, they love to sing Bulle Shah Shabads. And because it has a certain appeal, Sheikh Farid, they were all sons of the soil out here. So they have a appeal to the local people out here, and there's a very strong message out there, pulling you back from what traditional religions tell you towards the actual.
Babaji, many centuries back, there were less distractions in this world. So was it easier to control the mind then, or was as difficult then as it is today with all the distractions that we have?
Well, the main distraction is still the same. Has the distraction changed for you? Now, whichever century you had come, that same distraction would have been there for you. So to that extent, the main distraction is still the same.
So it was as difficult to control the mind then as it is today?
Yeah, times don't change. I mean, today you may have different problems, that time they had different problems. But I would say that getting control of the mind is still the same. The weakness of the mind and trying to control it is still the same.
One more question. We say this is Kali Yuga. So when did Kali Yuga start? I mean, or was it many centuries back also we used to call that period Kali Yuga?
Well, Kali Yuga basically translated into English is the Iron Age, where values have diminished. And so they call it Kali Yuga from that point of view. Now, when it started, that's all a matter of people's calculation. I don't think so anybody has an accurate calculation, neither does anybody know when Satyug started, or Treta, or Dwapar, or all this. I mean, these are projections that different people have done for us. The main thing is that in this age, we say that the values have diminished. We need to bring that back. And we need to get back to our real self and what we keep on talking about, self-realization, where we realize the truth rather than just have knowledge of the truth. Go ahead.
Babaji, do fresh karmas interfere with God's plan for us in this lifetime?
Well, it's an accumulation. don't take it literally. I think most of us take that karma very literally. So it's not that if you've killed a chicken 40 times, you have to be born as a chicken 40 times to pay that karma. It's the pain that you have caused for 40 chickens to be killed that you have to go through. You see? So every karma that you do is an accumulation of that negativity and positivity that accrues.
But does God change his plan for us?
God doesn't change. God doesn't change his plan. Karmas can't be changed, beta. Destiny can't be changed. So how can his plan be changed? For us, because we don't know the future, so we think it's changed, or a new sort of curse has come on us, or a disease, and we think that everything was happening so well and maybe his plan has changed. He doesn't change plans. He knows the past, he knows the present, he knows the future. Why does he need to change? We need to change.
Thank you, Babaji.
बाबा जी, बानी में हम पढ़ते हैं, एक खिन तिस्पिन जीवना बिरथा जन्म जना, और फिर और काज तेरे किथे न काम, मिल साथ संगत भज केवल नाम. इसी तरह सुल्तान बाहू भी कहते हैं, जो दम गाफिल सो दम काफिर. Now, अब अगर हम कहें हमेशा नाम को याद रखना है, तो फिर हम अपनी जिंदगी कैसे जी सकते हैं? नॉर्मल एवरीडे लाइफ, बच्चों से खेलना, काम पे जाना, बैलेंस कैसे करें?
One is the ideal and the other is the practical. Now in life you don't have an ideal. You don't have ideal parents, you don't have ideal children, you don't have ideal circumstances. So on a practical level, we have to function, and that becomes an objective. So we have to work towards that objective. So what the mystics have told us is the objective. You keep that objective in front of you. That with every breath you should be remembering him. With every breath, with every step, you should be thanking him for what he has given to you. So that is the objective. You have to work towards that objective.
No, but practically, how do I watch my favorite TV serial when I know that I have to be actually remembering God all the time?
No, we talk about balance. Now we need to keep a certain balance. If you upset the balance, even if you go extreme in spirituality, there will be a reaction. So you have to first build up your strength. Now look at it. We all know how many calories we need in a day. So why don't we eat everything in the morning so that we don't have to waste time during the day? We don't have that kind of digestion. We won't be able to sort of hold that. So what do? We break it up. So we eat food in the morning, digest it, it gives us strength, we are able to function for 3-4 hours. Then we eat lunch. So similarly in life, what we are doing as we are going forward in life, we have to increase our digestion. We have to increase the ability to make sense, to cherish and appreciate what he's giving us. Without that, you can't handle it.
So finally we have to remember him throughout the day.
You have to try. We are in that process of seeking. We are in that process of trying. Where with every breath we should be remembering him. Now that is the objective. The child, he doesn't go to school and get a degree immediately. He has to go through various stages before he comes to that comprehension, he comes to that level where he can get the degree. So things don't happen overnight. Rome was not built in a day. So step by step, as you create that appreciation with you, as you have that level of digestion, then you keep on moving forward towards attaining that objective.
So in this step by step, do we mean that we will be giving up TV and we'll giving up movies and we'll be giving up all this stuff?
You don't have to give up anything. You will just go beyond all this. You'll just go beyond this. As you proceed further in life, you will see many things will start becoming meaningless. Initially, everything had a certain meaning for you. But as you go forward, as you do your meditation and on the spiritual level, it takes on a total different meaning. So I won't say that you don't have to watch TV, but you will watch it from a totally different point of view. You know, it's like looking at a picture. Somebody appreciates the color, somebody appreciates the frame, somebody appreciates the picture. It's the same picture, but the level of appreciation keeps on changing. You read a book when you were young. You read it when you are in your teens. You read it when you are old. You get a total different meaning out of it. It's the same with life. Of course, it's a different thing that some people never mature. But for most of us, as we go forward in life, that maturity teaches us what is important. And there are certain things, they just get left behind. Then you start focusing on the reality and the essence rather than the meaningless things which surround you.
Thank you, Vijay.
Babaji, this may sound a little abstract, but all the religions talk about a creator God, and that's what people relate to, or the creative power. But actually they all, I mean not all, but many talk also about a higher level, what they call in Chinese non-being, where the creator God has come from that, but it's not that. That the highest level is where there's nothing. So why do we keep worshiping the creator when it's the higher level that...
You see, the creative power, for anybody to understand what the creative power is, he can't understand. At his level, he can't understand. So a certain face was given to him, a certain identity was given to him. Okay, we are not going to get into the question of why is he male and why is he female.
No.
It's a question of identity. Okay, so somebody called him God, somebody called him Paramatma, somebody called him Khuda, somebody called him Akal Purakh. We coined different names to give a certain identity. So we could relate to that rather than talking about just a creative power or just some sort of energy. Now, when you work yourself towards, there's certain things that you can do with your effort. And beyond that, it has to be His grace. Your effort doesn't work anymore. Okay? Now, the further you go, eventually it is nothingness. I mean, even if you see whether it's the Gurbani or the Vedas or something, they talk about where there is no happiness, no sadness, no criticism, no pulling legs, nothing. And when you come to that, what in Buddhism we call Sahaj Avastha. Sahaj means tranquility,
Yeah.
means no movement,
The non-being.
non-being. When
Yeah.
it's nothing.
Non-existence.
Yeah, nothing. But a normal human being won't be able to relate to that.
But even in the...
How do you explain to a normal being that you have to become nothing?
I don't know.
At this juncture of his intellect, he is something.
Right.
The creation around him is something. So you tell him that, look, you have to become nothing. He can't understand that. But once he comes to that level, once he goes beyond mind and maya, then he will start slowly understanding what Sahaj Avastha, that level of tranquility, actually means. So normally mystics won't speak about it. Some of them may mention it, but it's a stage that you will understand once you've gone beyond a certain level, not at this level.
But it's interesting that even the Jewish, which is so personified and everything, when you get into the mystical teachings, the highest level is nothing. Without nothing.
Every
Emptiness.
religion talks about it. We might know our religion, we may not know the other religion, but in Bani, Guru Sahib says, Dukh Sukh Dono Samkar Jaan or Man Apamana. Okay, whether it is happiness or sadness, treat it as equal. Which means there is no emotion. So at this level, can you function without emotion? And no emotion means sahaj, means tranquility.
So that's the balance point.
Nothingness. But you have to become something to be nothing.
Babaji, taking forward what you were just discussing, does that mean that everything that knowledge tells us or whatever we gain by reading or by listening is just a narrative, and eventually when we experience it, this will all seem completely false? Or we will realize that this actually was just to get us from point A to point B? Is that how it is?
Carrying on from what she said, the more you know, the more ignorant you will find you are. Because knowledge initially can help to whet the appetite, but it can also, the intellect can become a biggest hindrance. Because as long as the intellect is there, questions will be there. And we have to go beyond the questioning stage. And that can only happen when you put your knowledge into practice and start experiencing, rather than just, the outside knowledge. You have to see, feel, experience. And that will slowly take you beyond the realm of just the book knowledge. So book knowledge is only to whet the appetite. The other day we took the example of somebody who has driven a car all his life, but he doesn't know how to read and write, versus somebody who's read all the books on how to drive, but has never driven a car. So it's that experience. The books were to lead you on towards that experience. That the spiritual literature is a legacy left to us. That is the experience of the mystics who came before. So they are giving you their experience as to how you should put it into practice. Most of us feel just by reading that literature is sufficient. But that is to give you the starting point as to what you should be doing and how you should experience. And experience will teach you that there is this is the depth of this is so vast that the more you know, the more ignorant you feel.
Babaji, in the last question and answer, we were discussing how sometimes it's very overwhelming to be in the presence of the master. And you had said that that's because there's a personal association, so we react to the physical. It's also said, Babaji, that...
I would say it's more what you have built up in your mind. How you perceive him, how you see him. I mean, there are so many people who probably would meet a master and everybody treats him differently. Somebody would be venerating him and somebody thinks he's another ordinary human being and somebody feels he's an intelligent man. It depends upon how you see him.
Babaji, so is that our imagination or is that our association with the physical form of the master?
The physical form, I mean, we are all an illusion. Don't we say the world is an illusion? So he's as much an illusion, the physical, as you are. So he is a means. The end is the Shabad. So he is teaching you. Okay, a teacher teaches you to the extent of his own knowledge. The teacher in a nursery class versus the teacher in the first class and the second class, we have to keep on going forward, na? We have to evolve. And many times you will see the student goes beyond the teacher. And sometimes you know the teacher just because the student became famous. For example, Kabir Sahib. Very few people knew his master. His master became famous because of Kabir Sahib.
Babaji, you say that when we get attached with something else, it helps us disconnect from whatever else we might have been attached to.
When you get attached within.
Hanji.
Like Maharaj used to give us the example, that if you have a few coins in your hand and somebody says, give it to me, your first reasoning will be, why? Why should I give it? But if you put something more expensive, you put some jewels in front of you, your hand will open because you're getting something of a higher value. So the purpose of meditation is that as we take our attention within and we drink of that spiritual Amrit of Naam, the sweetness of that will make everything in life so bland that you won't want to go back to that status.
Babaji, till that doesn't happen, isn't the best thing to be attached to the master?
You have to channelize, no? So you have to channelize. You must start experiencing love, whether it's through your parents, through your children, through your family, through the master. The idea is to channelize your love.
Thank you, sir.
You see, for somebody who has that feeling of love, he's going to love everybody. It's not that he's going to love one and not the other. Love will become part of his behavior. He'll start loving everybody.
Babaji, people who love everybody are considered very soppy. Most people reject them, saying they're softies.
No, Kabir Sahib said, I mean, if people feel that I am mad, I'd rather be mad. At least I know what love is. Who do you want to be answerable to? To the Lord or to the people? Who do you want to make happy?
The Lord, Babaji.
Then why bother?
बाबा जी कहते हैं समय बहुत बलवान होता है। देखा भी गया है कि कोई एक इंसान है जो एक टाइम में मेहनत कर रहा है और कुछ नहीं मिल रहा है, और वही इंसान एक और समय आता है जब बहुत सक्सेसफुल हो जाता है। तो इसको कैसे समझा जाए?
कदर की बात है जी। जो कदर करता है वो पाता भी है और वो संभालता भी है, और जिसको कदर नहीं है वो सब कुछ होते हुए भी खो के बैठ जाता है। देखो, माँ बाप ने तो सब कुछ बच्चों को ही देना है, मगर जो बच्चा कदर करता है उसको खुशी से देते हैं, जो कदर नहीं करता उसे थोड़ा सा खींच के रखते हैं। ये नहीं है कि हमारे परम पिता ने फर्क रखना है किसी को ज्यादा और किसी को कम, मगर जिसको कदर नहीं है होते हुए भी वो सब कुछ गवा के बैठ जाता है।
तो बाबा जी, समय और डेस्टिनी सेम चीज होते हैं या फर्क है दोनों में?
समय इज टाइम
जी,
you see, and time is not in your control. Although of course destiny is also not in your control, but जैसे हम कहते हैं समय बहुत बलवान होता है। So the world is round, everything comes back.
थैंक यू बाबा जी।
Babaji, we often listen, whatever you see is not the truth. And whatever is the truth cannot be spoken. What's the meaning of this?
What do we see? We are very limited. Okay. Now, many times you tend to judge a person by the circumstances that he is going through. But that is not the reality. Unless you actually are in his shoes, you will never understand what he is actually going through and what is right and wrong for him. So that is why everything is an illusion around us. We've all been programmed in a manner and we are behaving like that. But the reality behind that, we are associated with so many people, we create relationships, and then something happens and you wonder, did you actually know this person? So, because our seeing, our feeling, the physical is limited, we can only experience up to a certain point, not beyond that. We are using our intellect. Intellect is limited. Unless you do not go beyond the physical into the spiritual, into the unlimited realm, you really can't understand. And once you go into the spiritual, then it doesn't make a difference, because then you are not going to judge.
Thank you, Babaji.
Babaji, Uzo Maharaji would tell us that 2.5 hours meditation a day, or 10% of our time, is sufficient to invoke the Father's grace.
No, he never said that. He said 2.5 hours is just the starting point.
Okay. Because it feels like an impossible task. That how can we get there?
No, it's not an impossible task. It's a question of creating that habit. like when we went to school, learning ABCD seemed so difficult. Today, if I ask you, you can rattle it off without thinking. The first day we sat behind the wheel of the car driving a car seemed so difficult. You would say, don't talk to me, I'm going to have an accident. You had to focus, which is the accelerator, which is the brake, which is the clutch, and when to change the gear. But over years, today you are driving, so naturally, you are looking out, you are talking, you are moving your feet, you are moving your hand in a very natural manner. Practice makes perfect. So that 2.5 hours is to bring you into that practice. And once you're able to do that, you will see Simran becomes part and parcel of you. Today, you are having to do it. Then it's going on automatically in your mind.
Yes, Babaji, but what I wanted to say is that even though one tries to be regular and there are changes happening, still it feels like reaching that level that you talk about, even with that little change that has happened in us, it's not, it's like reaching that
24 hours of the day, how much time do you spend? Okay. Now, suppose I'm at a particular place. Let's say I'm in Delhi and I want to go to Bangalore. I am walking towards Bangalore for just 10% of the time, and the 90% of the time I'm going in the other direction. So in that 10% of the time, I can't even come back to the place I started from. In 24 hours of the day, you are spreading your attention. And do you think that you can focus it in 10%?
So does that mean that we've got to become like those yogis or those swamis that have spent hours and hours in meditation?
No. That's again going to an extreme. That's why Maharaji always said, let's start with 2.5. You create that habit. Keep that balance. Give time to your family. Give time to your work. Don't be dependent upon anybody. Stand on your own 2 feet. But don't forget the Lord. Make that part and parcel of your life. You find time to sleep. You find time to eat food. You find time to dress up. You find time to have a bath. Shouldn't we find time to thank the Lord?
Definitely. Thank you.
Babaji, would you be able to share with us something of your relationship with Hazur? What it was like to grow up at his feet and then be initiated, and then would you be able to share something of that with us?
There's nothing to share. Everybody's experience is his own. I don't think so that my experience is going to have any meaning for you. You have to build on your experience. Everybody's strength and weaknesses are very different. I'm sure the entire family felt that they had their own place with Hazur. He wasn't biased with anybody. I think in his own manner, he loved everybody. So to say that somebody got more love and somebody got less love, I don't think so it was like that.
No, I think I was asking from your point of view, what you felt.
Well, it's again evolving. We evolved. He was always there. And I think initially one took it for granted. Whenever you wanted to meet him, you were able to access him. I guess you were lucky. Many people used to wait days and days to meet him, but you could meet him, so you took that for granted. And I think it's only when I left the country that I realized how much you missed that.
And then you were outside of the country until he appointed you, asked you to.
Yeah, I got drafted. It's not something anybody want to wish for.
Hazur, what is it that, what do you do that, what is the stage when the faith becomes absolute?
Well, once you have faith, you have everything. There is no calculation.
How? Sorry, sir.
You can't put these things into words.
Ji.
How do you explain absolute bliss? How do you explain the intensity of love? Can you put it into words? So this is something you have to experience. You can't explain these through letter of the alphabet.
But over a period of time, it shall happen.
That's what we are working for. That depends upon our input, His grace, our effort.
Thank you.
ਹਜ਼ੂਰ ਸਾਰੇ ਸੰਤਮਤ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਆਧਾਰ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਸਿਮਰਨ ਹੈ। ਸ਼ੁਰੂਆਤ ਸਿਮਰਨ ਤੋਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਸਭ ਦਾ ਇਹ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸਿਮਰਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਮਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ, ਮਨ ਟਿਕਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ, ਕੋਈ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਬੈਠ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਜੋ ਬੈਠ ਸਕਦਾ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਜੀ ਮੇਰਾ ਮਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਟਿਕਦਾ, ਮਨ ਭਟਕ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ। ਮੇਰੀ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਿਮਰਨ ਦੀ ਕੁਆਲਿਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਇੰਪਰੂਵ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਏ ਕਿ ਮਨ ਕੰਟਰੋਲ 'ਚ ਆਏ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਮਨ ਨੇ ਸਿਮਰਨ ਨਾਲ ਕੰਟਰੋਲ 'ਚ ਆਉਣਾ।
ਦੇਖੋ, what is Simran? Simran is repetition. When you repeat something, aren't we used to repeating everything? For us, our full life is a repetition of events, isn't it? You have a bath every day, you eat food every day, you sleep every day, you get dressed every day. Isn't that repetition? So here we are sort of trying to channelize that repetition in a positive manner where you are invoking the name of the divine. When a child, doesn't he remember his mother? A little child who can hardly speak, probably the first words he learns to speak is Ma. And he will go around seeking his mother and saying Ma, Ma, Ma everywhere. So what is he doing? He's remembering his mother. Shouldn't we remember our father? So our Simran is just invoking his name, remembering him, so that in whatever we do, he's constantly by our side. Like Maharaji used to say, if he's by our side, you'll never be scared. But it's when the child finds himself all alone that he becomes fearful. Now, if your father is standing next to you, the child has all the confidence. But if he can't see his father, then he feels at a loss. Then he becomes scared. So it's trying to create that feeling of his presence, of that divine presence in everything that we do in life.
Babaji, feeling the divine presence is the base of that is love.
Well, Dr. Johnson asked Vade Maharaji, he said, what is the most important thing in spirituality? So Vade Maharaji said, love. So he said, how do I get it? He said, I give it. He said, can you please give it to me? So then he explained to him. He said, just as you go and work, and in return of that you get your wages. He said, when you do my work, when you do meditation, in return of that you will get love.
आपके सिमरन नाल प्यार जागेगा और प्यार बिना सिमरन नहीं होता।
कहने दी गल है जी, you can't give love to somebody. It's a way of saying. Love is already there. He just awakens you to that. That is why we say that spirituality is an awakening. It's a realization. So it's not that somebody is going to put love into you or teach you love. He's going to awaken you to what is already there. So through Simran, you are bringing a focus. And once you get that focus, then you are going through the eye of the needle to experience everything.
Thank you, Babaji.